Welcome back, people. This is Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. I'm your boy, Mr. Prez, and with me always,
it's your boy Cash, aka Exec P, one half of the Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast team. What's happening, good people? What's happening?
Cash. Hey, I'm pretty sure the people who here with us every week, good with us checking in, but the people who are brand new, tell them who we are and what we about.
Absolutely, Prez. So this is Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast, a podcast about music, sports, culture, entertainment. And by culture, I mean Black culture each and every week. Tuesday, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we drop a podcast episode. You know, for our Patreons, we drop bonus episodes. So if y'all want to, that's kind of like a tip jar. So if y'all want to holler at us on that, make sure you go to www.dsc_podcast. And then you can find all of our Patreon info there. So, I mean, that's a little bit about us. You can get music and sports each and every week. That's for sure. We have a little bit of everybody on this podcast. We have artists, we have producers, we have people doing great things in the community. So we kind of, welcome people from all walks of life doing dope shit. So that's what we about. So I think I covered all areas, right? I'm good, Prez?
Almost. We branched out a little bit this year.
Absolutely.
So Don't Sleep
right.
Network. We have two other podcasts that we dropping that's going to be more fan-centric on our teams. If you see behind Cash, he got the Eagles. So he a big Eagles fan. So he drops a weekly podcast on that, recapping the games, talking about the games coming up. And then I got Don't Sleep on the Raiders. And that's another weekly podcast that's dropping that I do the same thing. Talk about the Raiders game and the game that got coming up. It's extremely fan-sided. I mean, we're going to give you all
it ain't about the X's and O's and all that.
And all this little stuff. But we're going to have us a nice combo, and you're going to get the emotions that a true fan gets throughout the season. Those wins are glorious, and those losses are, man, they're tough to take.
Definitely. So come ride with us through the ups and downs, of our season. Mostly downs for Prez and his Raiders. They up right now, but he'll be right back where my Eagles are pretty soon. So, I'll be here as his homie to help him when he falls year after year like I normally am. So go check out Don't Sleep on the Eagles. Go check out Don't Sleep on the Raiders. Again, once after the games on Sunday or Monday, depending on where we play. And then we also, may give you some bonus content in terms of just our feedback on the game before the game. So just check us out there, see, and let us know how we doing. All right. But that's not why we're here today. We fulfilling our promise of getting back into hip hop. And I don't want to say independent hip hop or underground. I want to say independent, but I don't want to say underground because, again, like our man Vaughn on Great Minds podcast, I feel like that's just diluting what we trying to do. So for this episode, we got two brothers out here. They just dropped a gem of a project. We've had King James on before, but this project is entirely produced by Kil, man. And from the time we heard it, we knew we wanted to have these guys on, and they happily obliged to come on. So without further ado, I just want to welcome King James and Kil to the podcast.
What's going on, good brothers? Thank you for having us, man.
Yeah, likewise. Appreciate y'all, man.
Absolutely. So fellas, man, I don't want to, assume that everybody knows who you are. I mean, you guys are heavily on Twitter and your music is moving and stuff like that. But just for people who don't know and whoever wants to start, just kind of give us a little bit of where you from, your hip hop history, and kind of who you are. So whichever one of you guys want to start first, we'll let you go.
King James, why don't you take everything first, good brother?
I games. I'm an MC out of North Carolina, specific. Like I said, man, just trying to make my mark in the game. Showcase what I can do. Started a long time ago in the MySpace era and stuff. But we here now in the year 2021, still, going strong. So it is what it is.
All right. And for me, I'm out of Philly. Fell in love with hip hop when I was 10 on some Common. I used to love it type thing. It's 84. I'm 10 years old. And Run DMC, Fat Boys, Houdini, Beasties, and LL. That's like my hip hop foundation right there. Went to Morgan State in 92. Started hosting our hip hop show up there, Strictly Hip Hop 889 from 93 to 2000. and really just been making beats since 95, got married in 2000, kind of fell back from the music. But then around 2009, MOP, I'll say this, a beat I made ended up on an MOP album without my knowledge. And that's kind of what got me jump started back into the game and back into Twitter and social media and all that. So I always tell folk everything happens for a reason. So, you know, it was an ill situation, but, you know, it's what got me to get back in the beats and making albums again like that. So that's it for me right now.
Cool. So for the first 48, man, like, how did that come together? Like, who reached out to who? Was it like a pairing where people said you guys should get together? Like, how did this EP come about?
Nah, man, I reached out to him, you know, because he was somebody that I had been following for a while, and I knew I wanted to work with him, you know. So I just reached out to him, and he sent an instrumental over. Sent it back to him. I guess he thought it was dope, and we just, you know, started building from there. You know, it was kind of tumultuous a little bit because, you know, for a long time I felt like God didn't want us to work together because like a whole bunch of little stuff just kept happening. Like, man, like my daughter, we went on vacation. She ended up getting foot and mouth disease. Had an electrical issue in this room where like none of the outlets worked. And then when I got that fixed, you know, I had an electrical fire in my garage, almost burned my house down. So, you know, it was a lot of stuff going on, man. But yeah, we definitely got it done.
Sure. So Kil, man, as far as you being in production for, you know, a pretty long time in your background, as far as you mentioned at Morgan State, like what makes you want to, because I know you guys as producers don't want nobody whack on your tracks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm getting right to it. I'm going to get right to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Reaching out is something that, you know, I'm sure MCs do if they know that, you know, you produce. What made you want to rock with King James?
I mean, he was just dope, man. You know, the blessing is, like you said, I'm blessed that a lot of people do reach out. A lot of people do rock with the beats. And even when James reached out, he even started with, you know, yo, I'm trying to buy beats. I ain't trying to get nothing for free. But, you know, if somebody reaches out and is dope, I'm like, you know, the money really isn't that important to me right now. I'm blessed that I don't need selling beats to help pay bills. So I was more so like, well, why don't we just do a project together? You know what I mean? I'd rather do that and kind of get a feel for everything, you know, and it's like, let's do an EP first. And if that vibes well, then, you know, maybe let's do an album, and prayerfully this may be able to turn into like a yearly thing, you know what I mean? Or how often we want to do it, just give something, you know, people to, you know, look forward to something like that. You know what I mean? But as soon as I heard his voice and his flow, I was like, nah, like I'd rather, whatever I'm gonna charge you for this beat, I'd rather us go a different route and do it this way and try and make something more incredible. Because if you're dope enough, I don't just want to be a placement on your album. You know what I mean? I don't want to just be track number 5 out of 18 tracks. You know what I mean? And all I got to buy was like 2 pair of Jordans, you know, with the money or whatever like that. I'd rather do the whole project and set a feel and set a tone for everything. I just think that's what we're missing in hip hop. You know, we missing them Pete and CLs, them Gangstars, you know, them boot camp clicks when you have one producer doing the whole album. You hear the cohesiveness of it. I always joke and tell people Illmatic ruined hip hop because that was like the album where it was like, oh shit, you mean I can go get this producer and that producer and that producer and this producer and bring them all together. That's really to me what hip hop got watered down. The thing about hip hop that was so dope for me in the 80s and the 90s is every producer had their own crew. So Marley had the Juice Crew and he wasn't doing nothing for nobody else. Eric Sermon had EPMD in his spotlight. And that's why everything sounded so different, because it was like, yo, you know, you got your sound, but then after Illmatic, it was like, oh, okay, well, I could go get an Eric Sermon and go get a Swiss and go get a Just, and, you know, I call it McDonald's Happy Meal menu. You know, you just go out and get whoever you want, and then that's how everybody started, you know, one of the reasons why I think hip hop started sounding the same after a while.
That's dope, man. Like we are, me and Prez, you could jump in anywhere you want to. We always talk about the one producer, one MC, or the one production squad, one MC albums, and how we tend to gravitate to those more so than the ones that are all over the place, because the ones that are all over the place, you have to have somebody like you mentioned, like a Nas, who's that talented, who's that elite at rapping, to bring that all together, to bring all those beats together and to really bring that home. So, but we're big fans of just locking in, and then kind of what you guys are doing for the long haul. Maybe it does become a series, and then like you said, man, that's more fruitful for you guys, art wise, I think, and then profit wise in the long run. You know what I mean? Because you got to establish a following first. So I think that's dope that you guys went that route with it.
Yeah. So when you talk about that one sound, I think that became very evident to me again that like that hip hop need to flow back that way and lock in. When we did a review on it too. But Common B, you know, when Kanye, he teamed up with Kanye West and, you know, had that one sound throughout that whole album, and you just seeing like how greatly how masterfully that was put together and executed. I was just like, okay, yeah. Then you start seeing like Jay-Z do it again on his where he had the Timberland mostly produced, and our Neptunes like going back and forth with them. So yeah, and then now we get those like on a yearly basis, like what Nas, like you said, Nas kind of may have threw it off with Illmatic, but I think he's bringing it back around with King's Disease and how that's going. So, but yeah, you want to speak on any of that, like any of those albums? Is that the same thing that you kind of feel, or do you have anything to say on those albums?
I mean, I think the one with Big, especially, I think it was in Scratch Magazine, and they kind of, him and Ye were talking about making that album and just being together. You know what I mean? They said that they went to go see Ray in the theaters, and then they came home and made Go. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, I think it's a blessing that nowadays we can make music and not be in the same place, you know, but then sometimes I feel like it's a curse too. You know what I mean? Because it's something about the vibe that you could get. Like if it wasn't all this COVID hoopla, I would have invited James up to the crib. He could stay at the crib with me and my fam, you know, for the weekend, couple of days, and we just bang out the whole album. You know what I mean? And then that way, you know, and prayerfully, maybe that's something we can do in the future, because it's something like just having that synergy and just being able to like play beats. Yo, I like that. You know what I mean? Record. You know what I mean? I'm old. I like doing the old school recording 20, 30 songs and then going back and being like, that's why we used to get all those dope soundtrack joints like Hot Sex. Hot Sex was probably recorded during Midnight Marauders, but maybe it didn't fit the feel of the album. So you have these gems that's left over, whereas now most people just do, you record 12 songs, those 12 songs that make the album. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just like the synergy. You know, let's take a break, let's go chill. You know, it's been times people record, my wife sings, she may hear something come in and start singing a hook or something. So it's just the synergy of everything when you're together. And that's what I'm looking forward to, because if we were able to make the first 48 in 2 different places and people are feeling it, just imagine what we can cook up if, you know, we lock in for like 72 hours and just, you know, record.
Right. Yo, James, I got to ask you this question online, because we've talked about it offline as far as getting a pack of whack beats. How refreshing, how refreshing was it for you to receive the beats and be inspired? You know, to rap, because you can really rap. If people don't know, you really get busy. Like, how inspiring was that for you to keep getting that batch and just not say no to anything?
Man, I tell producers all the time, man, like when a rapper gets a beat that he actually likes and he's inspired by, sometimes you hear a beat and you already know like what the song is going to be. Because, like, you know, like when I heard Chess, the beat for Chess, and I'm driving in the car and I'm like, man, the idea just popped in my head. And I'm like, yo, this is what I'm going to do. And if I didn't hear that beat, that song may not exist, you know? So like getting a beat that speaks to you, it's everything, man. And I think, you know, a lot of producers, you know, they feel kind of jaded because it's like, yo, I don't rock with it. But man, it's something like it's almost divine, you know, because I can't tell you that it was like, yo, man, I really want to make a song about chess. Like I didn't want to make a song about chess. That's just what the beat gave me, you know. So like when you get a beat and it's dope, man, the music comes so easily and freely, and it's like it's something that you want to do. Like when you get a beat where it's like it's all right, but it's like laborious. It's a chore now. And I really don't want to work like that. I know a lot of rappers really don't want to work like that. So yeah.
Hey yo, gather round, youngins. That's if you're willing to listen and get on down to the homie Kills rhythm. Y'all about to witness a lesson about decisions and how to move in any game when handling business. You gotta be ready for opposition. Slipping ain't no excuse. Gotta make your next move your best move, cause niggas oppress you like a player in a game of chess, dude. So you gotta understand some chess rules. We gon' start with the queen. To put it simple, she a bad bitch, doing what she want when she please. She can move in any direction as far as she need to keep your competition under pressure, causing them grief. Shorty's a beast, but don't use her too much, cause she's a targeted piece. She'll be prone to fall when it's beef, so make sure that she's protected. A queen's the perfect piece for aggression, but can't be used against you if you're reckless. Next, we pivot to the bishop. It's like the queen, but only travel on diagonals at any distance. One of the best in the beginning, and they coming too, so if one get caught slipping.
You came on like on this album, you mentioned like hip hop feel versus like, you say that a lot throughout the album. And for me, when you say hip hop, it's more the breaks, the cuts, you're gonna have more braggadocious on the skills versus like the gear and all this stuff that you got on there. It's more showcasing the cohesive product between the producer and the rapper, the lyricist. And y'all did a great job. And when you come to chess, like you saying, like it's not something that you want to get on, but like that beat just says, come down, sit down, I'm about to teach you something. And then what you're providing with it, intertwining how when you explain in chess, how it can fit in any environment. You know what I mean? It can go for the street side if you wanted to. It can go into like just life lessons, learn how to build up your team to succeed in life. So yeah, great track on there. And if you want to elaborate any more about like how did that come about? I seen like how y'all intertwined the wire up in there as well. So
Yeah, man, I'm a huge fan of The Wire. I believe Kill is also a huge fan of The Wire.
Yes,
And, I go down. Yeah, it's one of the greatest shows of all time.
I agree. We concur.
Yeah, so,
It's like an annual watch.
Yeah,
There you go.
like
Same
my wife,
with here. I just pop up with pick a season and just start going in again.
Besides season 2,
Yeah.
it's underrated. It's underrated, but we can get into that later. Yeah.
My wife, she saw The Corner, but she's never seen The Wire, so I'm actually in the process of watching it with her, now. But I go down the rabbit hole all the time, like just like YouTube clips and stuff. And when I heard the beat and knew that that's the direction that I wanted to take it, and I'm going down, my little rabbit hole journey and stuff, and I heard that clip, I'm like, yo, that's I definitely got to throw that in there, because and it's like Prayer said, man. I know a lot of cats, because we may not be street dudes, but we come from the street, so that's where they want to take it. But chess is really about resource management, and resource management is a skill that's, it's applicable to any walk of life, like that. Those are lessons that you can use anywhere, so just kind of like tying it in and bringing it all together, man. And it would bring cats in because, like, if you like The Wire and you hear that, you automatically going to be, okay, I want to hear what this is about. And that's one of the scenes that I see a lot of people gravitate towards because it was explained kind of crudely, but, it was very powerful, had a lot of impact, so.
For sure. So I want to kind of go back to when we first heard you versus what we're hearing now. So, we first heard you on Weather Report, you and JR and Phenomenal Project. And, we've reviewed it. And then as you kind of have evolved and we've heard you on different things, we knew you could rap, and you had little points in there where you would dive back into stories from your past. But you kind of got a little bit more descriptive on this project and with Eden specifically, man. So what made you, I'm pretty sure you've been cool with coming out and kind of speaking on your story, but what made you speak a little bit more vividly, in my opinion, when you was dropping Eden?
Man, just tying it back to the original question, it's like when you get beats that you like, when I heard that beat and I identified the sample, but he flipped it differently. And it's just one of those songs was like, man, you can't come up here and talk about no bullshit on this joint. Like you really gotta give cats some stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, and I definitely try to be transparent in my life, and you know, everybody tells the street stories and stuff, but you know, it's a million cats that just, you know, live regular lives, and you know, people really want to know about what you got going on, what you've been through. So just try to be transparent about some of my struggles and stuff. And you know, the main takeaway from that is like, you know, I didn't say it like that for cats to feel sorry for me. You know, that was just me being transparent. Because if I can go back, you know, just to experience the same shit twice, I definitely would. You know, but it was just that's where the beat took me, man. And you know, I was blessed that he sent that in that pack, because it was one of my early favorites. I knew I was going to do that track too.
And Kill, I'll toss it to you, man. Like, how did you feel just as receiving it as a listener when you first heard it?
I mean, for me, it's just, one is an incredible song. And again, I give King James all the props for it, because a lot of the beats on this project, like as a producer, you make beats, and like, you know, what I've learned in all these years are my favorite beats. I'll be like, yo, you gotta hear this. And then people are like, it's all right. And then it's the beat that's like, I'm like playing something, trying to skip over. They're like, nah, what's that? Like, and I'm like, oh man, not that. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
What I loved about this project is I think outside of probably the first joint, the Friday Night Boys. Is that what it's called? My brain, my memory.
Wide Awake Boys. Wide Awake Boys.
Yeah, Wide Awake Boys.
I love that beat.
Everything
else on the album was a beat that I was like, you know, it's good. You know what I mean? Like, I would never send a whack beat. Like, a whack beat will get erased before. I don't even save anything I don't like. So I always want people to understand that. Like, damn, you send me some beats you ain't like? Like, nah, I like them, but, you know, but what he was able to do with the beat. So especially even when I heard it, it was just like, wow. You know what I mean? And it was, to me, the dopest thing about this EP, it was always talked about when God has his hand in things. Like, it really didn't have to be a lot of back and forth between us about, like, I feel like this EP shows his skills as a spitter, shows his skills as a storyteller, shows his skills as being able to open up. Like, it's a perfect resume almost for me. Like, to kind of like, I'm thinking about from a job market standpoint, I'm hiring for some positions in my teen center, and you want people to be able to hit all 5 of these points on the resume for you to be able to hire them. And I think like this EP is that. There's a lot of incredible MCs, but they're just spitters, you know, which is cool. But for me, I want more from an MC. You know what I mean? It's like, I want more than just being a 3-point shot specialist. I want you to be able to take it to the hole. I want you to be able to do different things. And I think that's what King James was able to show with this EP. And I mean, every time we talk about it, I'm just throwing a rock to him. Like, yo, he made me love beats that I thought was good. You know what I mean? And he was able to, what I think a lot of people don't do now is make good songs. You know what I mean? And that's a lost art. You know, people know how to spit, but do you know how to make a dope song? Do you know how to make a song where, you know, it sticks with you, where it stays with you? You know, like, I've heard people say Chess is my favorite. I've heard people say Eden is my favorite. I've heard Stadium Music. I've heard Wide Awake Boys. And to me as an artist, that's what you want to be able to do, where you just have different people all saying, this spoke to me, or I like that one better. You know what I mean? So again, that's all back to King James, man.
And I throw it right back to Kill, man, because like I said, when the beats are what you want, it's easy, man. I felt like this was like easy mode. You know, none of it was forced. You know, because I've worked on stuff where it's like, man, I really don't even want to. You know, but this, like, it flows so freely, man. So, like I said, man, shout out to Kill, man. He murdered the beats, man, and he sent me some dope stuff, man. And also, it kind of felt like, you know, he really knew what I would like, you know, because a lot of times I get beats and it's like, yo, this cat, he definitely didn't listen to what I do, because if he did, you wouldn't send me these type of beats, you know. But all of the beats, you know, even the girls I didn't rock with, it was like stuff that I would be on, you know, so I could hear myself on all of them, you know. So I really had the opportunity to go into there and like, I can narrow it down to the shit that I really, 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 really like, you know. So
that's a good problem to have. That's a good problem.
And the stuff I've been cooking up for him this week, just in this week alone, I probably made about 9 new beats, which is never unheard of. I may make 1 beat a week. Yeah, you know I mean, I think I made 9 this week, just coming off the oomph of the feedback people are giving us. So I'm about to send him a brand new batch fresh out the oven type stuff. You know what I mean?
That sounds like a Christmas gift to the fans. That's what that sounds like.
I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for it.
Like December 24th is dropping. I don't have the name. I don't have the name of it yet. You know, I'm sure they'll let us know pretty soon.
Shit, I just wrote down resource management. Like, that's an ill title right there. Like, I just jotted out like, ooh, resource management. That's kind of dope. And you know, so
yeah, I do have another question. Go ahead, Press.
Okay, and yeah, when you talk about like storytelling, like I think you still left out, like you was naming a lot of tracks, but "Sins of the Father," one of my favorite tracks.
That's me,
man. Like that right there. I haven't heard storytelling like that. No, I think you even surpassed. I was telling Cash this, like, but Jay-Z, "Meet the Parents," the thing that brings closer to my mind. But like how vividly you explain that story and like carried us on throughout each verse, man. Like that was just masterful, man. So just want to definitely give you props on that. And then like, man, how did you go down that path to actually come up with that?
Man, I appreciate that first and foremost, man. I really do. Because, you know, like I said, one of my top 5 is Nas. And the thing I like most about Nas is his ability to tell stories, you know. And I always, you know, would like, one of my favorite Nas songs is like, you know, Second Childhood. You know, it's like, all right, you know, just delving into somebody's life and being able to like, you know, be brief enough to summarize all the key points and really evoke an emotion. And that's what I try to do really, man. You know, I'm a girl dad, you know, my daughter, she'll be 4 on Halloween. And also, you know, I was raised by a single parent. You know, my mom, she raised me. I never met my dad before, you know, so Sins of the Father kind of like ties into my life a little bit, you know, but I see a lot of, you know, women, you know, who are damaged now because they didn't have a father in their life, you know, and it really speaks to like the level of damage that we can do, you know, just by being absent, you know, like you don't even have to be a bad parent. You can just be an absent parent and you can have that, you know, detrimental of an impact on, you know, entire generations and stuff. And I made it my life's mission to break that chain. I'm like, I'm not going down that path. I knew a long time ago. It's like, yo, you know, I'm not going to be one of them niggas that's out here with a bunch of loose babies and shit. Like, I'm going to take care of my kids. They're going to know me, like really be a present father. So, you know, that was kind of the spirit of it, but I just really wanted to depict it in its rawness, you know, and show people like, yo, you just going through it. You know, these are people's real lives, you know, and, you know, because people like to look at it, you know, when it's like, all right, you know, she's on OnlyFans and stuff. It's a lot of stuff behind that, you know, and, you know, to speak to the kid point, man, one of the things I hate most about social media is like all the missing kids that I see, you know, the kids that, you know, never come home. Whether they, you know, just don't get found or, you know, they get killed. And, you know, I just wanted a really raw story to try to highlight, you know, some of the ills, you know, not only in the Black community, but in society as a general.
So that's an excellent point. That's an excellent song, by the way. Like Press said, I can't say how much more vivid you could get. And definitely, again, not saying I didn't see that coming from you, but we hadn't heard it from you. So your ability for a lot of new flows, a lot of new concepts, and a lot of new things that you're opening up to on this project is something that we're happy for you doing, you know what I mean? Because as you're getting back into hip hop and getting back into the swing of things, we need that whole person concept. I hate to borrow my little Air Force jargon here, but you know, we need that whole person. Like I'm 38. I need to hear 38-year-old shit. I need to hear grown man shit. I can't. And now I'm cool with the young cats. I'm not that detached. I have a 17-year-old. See, I got so many kids. I keep forgetting. A 17-year-old. I have a 15-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old. See, I don't even know their ages. And a 3-year-old. You know what I mean? And 3 of them live with me. So that's very important to me. But you know, in terms of just hip hop and speaking different languages, different lanes, or whatever, we need that type of imagery. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a dope part of hip hop. And my kid, as I ride with him and he listens to it, when he says, "Who's this?" And he knows I listen to a lot of old school stuff. To him, his old school is 2000, right? So, but when he says, who's this? That's just me thinking, okay, he gets it. He gets it. He hears the story. He understands it. He may not be the biggest fan, but he respects it, and that's all I try to give as a father, a hip hop dad, so to speak. So well done. But staying in that lane, Kill, I have a question for you, man. So we do our research. We don't get up here and just talk crazy and just ask random questions. So one of the things that's pinned on your social media is your daughter. She was, I think she was making a beat or listen to you sample dig, and I want to stay in that lane because that was a beautiful thing to see as far as just fatherhood and still
thank you
growing in the hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, I love that. Like, I just picked out an MPC keyboard. I don't know what I'm doing right now. But these cats like King James, JR.
We gonna chop it up though. If we gonna chop it up then. If you ready to start producing, yeah, we gotta get in your ear so we get you right, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. But what I'm saying is it's a beautiful thing to learn, from your parents. And if your love is music, the gift of music, man, for cats that wake up, eat, sleep, shit, music, and for your kids to want to do the same thing or be interested, that's dope, man. So, like, how do you feel about teaching music? I mean, you have a podcast, Apartment 5B, to where you guys are pretty much teaching stuff. And if you're a fool if you're not listening or watching, it's like 2 hours per episode. I get to them and I watch them like a season, man, because it's just nothing but hip hop nostalgia on there, man. So my question is, what makes you become a teacher to your family and friends?
It's an educator in me, man. Like, it's funny, growing up, 86, Crush Groove comes out. I'm 12. I'm like, yo, I want to be Russell Simmons. I want to own a record label. Go to school, doing a hip hop show. I'm interning at labels. And then when I'm ready to graduate, like, I realized, like, yo, this record business is shady, man. Like, Tip was right, man. I'm just talking from internship positions I could be like. And I was like, dog, like, am I really ready to change my character to really get up in here to be able to compete to, get here? And I was like, nah, I'm not willing to do that shit. So I'm graduating and I'm like, I don't know what to do with my life. Like, all my whole life has been wanting to go this way. Now I'm deciding I want to go that way. My mentor was like, yo, you should work with kids, man. You got a calling on you. I was like, fuck them kids. I don't like kids like that. Like, and now 20 years later, I'm still working with kids. So, it's just, I think it's something that God has given me, man. And I love teaching about music because here's the thing. If we don't teach, the next generation won't know. You know what I mean? And then we become them old heads that's like, oh, these kids don't know. But it's like, yo, did you teach them? Did you take your time to, explain to a kid? So for me, like, literally, Naomi, if she's 2 days old, like, bath time was always hip hop. She grew up on what I call my PG-13, my Herbie Love Bug hip hop, my Kid and Plays, my Salt and Peppers, Kwame's and all that. So every bath time was Bismarck, picking boogers. And so she had been listening to hip hop literally from the time that she was born. You know what I mean? Or she would be in here banging around on the MPC or on the ASR or whatever. So the thing that I learned from my teen center, and I'm going to touch on how dope King James is too in my teen center in a minute, it's like it kind of gave me the ability to be a fly on the wall, to be able to hear what teens are going through and what kids don't get. So I was able to then come home and make sure Naomi had it. And then I felt like it's my job to tell people on Twitter, like, yo, this is what's going on. Because the average parent is not going to their kid's school unless something is wrong. You know what I mean? So if you are blessed to have that kid that's not like really in trouble and, they grades at school, you may not really understand what's going on. Like, dog, 2005, I had girls in 7th grade, like, having head parties, just like, hey, come over my crib and me and my girl just gonna be sucking niggas off all day. And I'm like, yo, in 7th grade, like, yo, but so I feel like it's my job to let people know, like, dog, y'all gotta start talking to your kids about sex a lot earlier. This is not my day when kids was waiting till 15, 16 to start having sex. Dog, I got 9, 10-year-olds giving head. So it's like, yo, I just want to be that. I just want to be that reporter to get people's ear. Like, look, you can't say you didn't know. You may want to ignore me and be like, I killed Bug. He don't really know. Well, you can't never say like you didn't know. So to me, the blessing is just, people really seek me out for advice. And I love the hip hop, but I love the life advice. Like people will my DMs are full of Kill, yo, my daughter's doing this, or my son, or which way should I move with this? And to me, that I've been a marriage coach for probably the past 12 years. So like those are like the tweets that excite me. Like we can talk hip hop all day, but like I always tell people, part of my podcast with Apartment 5B, now we're dealing with health because I have fibromyalgia, just got diagnosed with scoliosis. So, you know, we just had Grap Lover, Pete Rock's younger brother who's always on Apartment 5B. He got scoliosis. So, you know, I want to talk to, you know, us men and just women, just everybody in general. Like, yo, if we ain't taking care of our health, we can't talk hip hop. You know what I mean? If we're not taking care of our families, we can't talk hip hop. So I feel like there's certain things you got to do. It's almost like you got to do your homework before you have fun. Like that's what we tell our kids, like get your homework done before you watch, you know, TV or do what you want to do. We got to make sure our family's right, our health is right, you know, stuff is straight. Then we can have fun and talk about hip hop. You know, and with the daddy-daughter digging, my brain is like a marketing factory 24/7. And it was just like, yo, this would be dope because I don't see this. Like I don't see anybody on YouTube. I don't see anybody on Twitter sitting down with their kid, playing them the samples, then picking two people and then letting her pick which one she likes better. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing is we got multiple Fs, but Twitter kept banning me for copyright infringement. So I only keep that one up. So if I get another, you know, thing, I ain't got to go search through nothing. It's the pin tweet. I could just delete it and get rid of it. We had something called the front seat when she, I guess, turned whatever age you have to be to now ride in the front seat. And we would put each other on with music. Like she put me on to some shorty a couple of years ago, Queen Naja, like the social, you know, some Instagram singing. I'm like, yo, shorty is dope. So it kind of, if we were able to keep them up, you'd actually now be able to see now Naomi is schooling me on music. So it's not just a one way street. Or even with my teens, when they get in my car, it'll be like, I'm like, yo, play me somebody. They'll play me one of they little rappers, whatever there's so many little rappers that they'll play me somebody, you know, and then I'll play them. Nas, I Gave You Power. And then at the end, they're like, oh shit, he's saying like he's a gun. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, now can your favorite rapper do that? And they're like, nah. So it's not me saying, yo, your rappers are whack. Like, yo, make your own decision. Like, that's my thing with life. Like, I'm not here to tell you your rappers are whack and mine are better. I'm going to just let you play me yours. I'm going to play you one of mine and then let you decide. Maybe you feel like your favorite rapper can do that. But I can say none of my teams have ever been like, yeah, my favorite rapper can do that. So I think it's just, again, I can't say it enough, running that teen center for 20 years, and I've been in 5 different hoods in D.C., is being a fly on the wall. You can't tell the kid, yo, your rappers are whack, because now the wall is up. Yep. Now they don't want to hear nothing you got to say because, like, you've attacked the people who I love. I remember being a shorty and my cousin saying, yo, wrestling's fake. Nigga, you out your fucking mind. Wrestling ain't fake. Like the Road Warriors and Ric Flair. You know, instead of him saying, like, instead of him being like, yo, Kill, this nigga just jumped off a rope with a chair and hit this dude and he's still up. Like, you don't think he'd have a concussion? Or, like, allow me to see that it's fake. You know what I mean? And make my own decision.
Yeah, there's nobody could tell me the Undertaker and Mankind on top of that cage was fake. Nobody could tell me that. Right. You can't tell me that.
You know what I mean? So, you know, that's the thing. To me, it's just the educator in me. And it's like we have to teach that, because if we don't, we end up with hip hop as it is now. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Biblically based, you know, we need a man as the head of the household. I always tell women this, and it's no disrespect to women because y'all are holding it down and they're doing the best they can. But I always tell people, if you want to see what it looks like when the man is not the head of the house, look at any hood across our country. You know, because the man is not there. Our people kill. What would you do to get rid of drugs? I just need a man and a woman in the house on the same accord. And I'm not worried about that. You know what I mean? Because if you got a project, you're talking about 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 apartments. It may only be 50 niggas selling drugs like that. But if you put a man in all those apartments, the numbers, them 50 dudes ain't going to be able to handle the 3,000, 4,000 men. That's going to be like, nah, take that shit somewhere else. So, so again, just sorry to be long-winded, but it's just the educator in me. Like I want to help people not have to go down the same road I went down.